Me Out. I'm your host, Kiende Stinson. Tech Me Out is a podcast where we discuss technology one idea at a time. Today, we're going to dig into something that I'm seeing everywhere, from corporate offices to classrooms, where people are using artificial intelligence tools without thinking about how they're using them. We've all heard the phrase prompt engineering, but there's really nothing prompt about it. What's important is that you understand that you are the leader of the tool. The tool does not lead you. Let me give you an example. If I type into an AI chatbot, I would like to create a rubric for my fifth grade students. It will produce an output. It will be generic and probably not anything that you could really use for your classroom. But if you take a step back before you enter in a prompt and provide it with context, say, my fifth grade students are not really interested in technology. However, they do need snippets of time outside of the classroom where they will learn how to use these rubrics. In those moments, you're providing adaptive thinking to the tool. And this is why it matters. It provides context. It allows you to shift your approach quickly when things are not producing as you want. And it allows you the time to reflect on what your intentions are. So that socio-tech connect tension that comes, that we're seeing everywhere from people who are using AI tools and not getting what they want, the best response to solving that tension is you. You are the context. You are the tool. You provide the direction. You've heard me say this many times. The best AI users don't just use the tool, they lead the tool. The magic of these tools isn't in their intelligence. It's in your ability to take it and lean into it to make sure that you receive what you would like. And today's guest feature is a perfect example of that. I spoke with Cary, a rural elementary school teacher who sits at the intersection of technology, policy, leadership, and is required to produce results without support, without adequate knowledge. What she does in the classroom every day is adaptive thinking. Hello, Cary. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. I know that you have like tons of really great information to provide to the audience because of who you are and what you do. So, if you could start there, just kind of give us a brief introduction about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I teach first grade at Running Creek Elementary, which is in downtown Elizabeth. And Elizabeth borders on Douglas and Elbert County. So we are a rural district. And I think it's kind of important just to go off of that. We are a very small district. We have 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school. And we also don't have a lot of funds. A lot of rural districts are poorer districts. And I just bring that up because I'm going to touch on the base that just technology costs money. So, in my first grade class, we use technology all day. All of our
Wow.
curriculum programs are now online to the fact that I can bring up all my lessons, all the manuals, the workbooks, any thing I put online, or I put up on our whiteboard through a projector. And the kids also use a personalized learning program. So they have Chromebooks and they get on that program and it tailors the learning depending on how they answer different questions. I also use it for attendance. I use it for parent communication. We have it's called Classroom Dojo, which is like a texting platform, and you can do newsletters and classroom stories, and then it has private chats. So I was talking about earlier with you that if there's no internet, our day kind of can crumble around us because everyone is so dependent on technology, which we have then no technology backup plans because our day is so um, routine where like I said, I do attendance and lunch count. And so if I don't have that, then that has to go down on paper pencil. So things like that. And then the kids are now used to when I put things up on the whiteboard, being able to look at their paper. So they have their paper in front of them. And then it's also projected onto the board. So um, that really helps them track and pay attention. But if we don't have that, it's difficult because then I might put up like a teeny tiny piece of paper on the whiteboard and they can't see that. Oh,
So their like eyes, their physical like eyesight is kind of like
right, right,
affected by they're so used to it, which is I bet it's not bad because it's like really big.
exactly.
Yeah, it's really big, so it's helpful for them.
Yeah, it's very, very
Yeah.
helpful. So when I'm thinking, I think our biggest bit of technology, which I don't want to say is an issue, but it is difficult for different districts where I was going back and talking about rural districts that
Yeah.
don't have a lot of money. So
Yeah.
our biggest curriculum piece is iReady, and it also hooks into our state testing scores. We have the tests, different comprehension checks. And so from my computer, I go through and assign all the lessons that they need to do depending on their performance. And then different tests I need them to take are little comp checks,
Yeah. That's
different unit
awesome.
tests, right? And if they don't have any tasks that I give them, then they just go into their personalized learning program. Um, and then there's a required amount of time for the program to be successful. That's 45 minutes a week that for math and then 45 for reading for the
Okay.
program to be successful. Um, and so then you look at that, what if I don't have my 45 minutes, right? Um, those scores at the end of the year go to the state. And then they look at that on how we are performing.
Okay.
The big scores that determine how your district is doing are called CMAS. So those are the big Colorado tests. So to do for districts to perform and get those good scores and percentages from the CMAS, they buy programs like iReady, which can um, do the personalized learning program. But the state still gets those scores in a way that my performance as a teacher is graded by those iReady scores.
Yeah,
So,
I did a podcast, like I did a series on AI in education,
uh-huh,
and I broke it down like before school, like toddlers,
uh-huh.
elementary, high school, college, and then beyond. And I found that statistic incredibly startling. Like, what does, first of all, your average teacher is in their 40s right now. So, computer, like, the computer usage is so like minimal growing up. So like there's like a learning curve to having to learn to use these tools. And then on top of that, I've been teaching a completely different way all this time. And my abilities as a teacher is now being based off of what is produced in this report or, like these metrics that are heavily technology based. Um, yeah, that's startling to me. How
It's
much time did you have? Was there like, I know like every year before teachers start, they kind of come before school starts and do like teaching prep. How much of it was devoted to technology when you guys switched to what sounds like a complete technology curriculum?
well, it it kind of happened over time as a teacher. So I started teaching in '01, and
Okay.
everything
Yeah.
was
Wow.
paper pencil.
Mm-hmm.
As things became more technology based, needing those scores for the state, they just curriculum companies just kept developing more and more programs so that the state testing was more reliable because the districts, like I said, are graded by the their test scores. So to keep the districts reliable of not cheating, the
Right.
curriculum companies came up with more tech, programs online. So it happened over time. And now in college, you learn a lot of it, but I mean, how to use the technology. But let's say I'm a teacher straight out of school and I get a job at my school district and I have to know then how to use Amplify. I need to know how to use iReady. I need to know Infinite Campus for
So
grading.
now that's like listed now in like the applicate, like in the requirements now. You got to
Mhm.
have knowledge.
Right.
Oh,
Keeping your
so
online.
it's not even like we're gonna kind of train you. You should know this stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're like, they do their best, but it costs money to have people come in and
And
train your
train.
staff. So they'll have people come and train. You get maybe a day or two, depending on it's basically an overview. So
Yeah,
you lean on your colleagues heavily, and if you can do that, otherwise you do your best. You really do.
that can
Yeah,
impact your how you get graded as a teacher,
yeah,
right?
and that's where you get back to getting those scores um, to judge you as a teacher. So it's not 100%. It is a percentage, but it
Right. Okay.
is um, that percentage that admin looks at because it's very objective. A
Mm,
lot of the observations that the admin does um, are subjective. So
yes.
people want objective information. And
Yeah.
that is what technology is. For RANDA is what Colorado, the Board of Ed uses, and to grade teachers. And so you have to have a certain score um, to be either proficient, above proficient, below proficient. And then there's another thing you have to learn how to use um,
Yes.
technology.
So, from a policy perspective, what I'm hearing is that if the state is mandating, the state's requiring that the CMAS is going to be like the end all be all, but the basis of the CMAS is kind of like provided to different districts in different ways. So I think that if the state is saying, okay, type C is the free version, it's almost like the trial version, right? And this is all that district can afford because we are requiring administration of CMAS. We should be providing the funds to make sure that the tools are all the same. Like, because you guys wouldn't even have this problem if CMAS didn't exist, if it wasn't being required to be administrated by the state. So, why isn't the state providing the funds for these particular stools. Like anything that's connectable to these tests that you're basing everything on, this should be provided for financially by the state. Like I just I don't see how that's a problem because the state's decision from a legal perspective is what's caused this issue.
Well,
Wow.
it's just ingrained in history. In 2000, the end of the 90s, they started No Child Left Behind, and that was the beginning of state testing. And the states have their independent
Yep.
ability to decide what's paid for in school districts. We all know how taxes are collected. We all know in what way people want taxes distributed. We all know in what way they don't want that money distributed. As long as I've been a teacher, that the teachers and the students suffer. Everybody, they want to decide. They want the community to be on the board of education, and those people decide what's best for their community.
I mean, I totally get it. I totally get it. I mean, so what do you think would help your district or districts like your own to get to this place? Like when I think about education, I think of it as a fundamental right. Like everybody should be educated. Um, and states should have the right to say, okay, this is how we're going to do things. This is what we're going to teach. I understand that because if, you have the right to leave, you know, but something about technology being inserted into it that changes it. Like for me, because it's a tool that is so advancing. Like you're no longer moving incrementally, you're moving like exponentially.
Yeah.
And so maybe things need to be reframed now because technology is so, like you kept talking about curriculum companies.
Don't get me started.
Their entire business is just ed tech.
And providing scores. Your staff should be able to complete this bit of curriculum in this many minutes, and therefore your result should be this. And what the problem is you have huge variables called.
So it's really important that there's a balance, especially in education, because that's just the foundation of everything.
Well, the other thing I thought was interesting, and I don't use AI to generate any of my lesson plans, but once we get into like third and fourth grade, some of my colleagues shared with me that there are programs that you can like type in your standard or you can type in the goal of your lesson and AI will just put out your lesson plan. Should you just go and be like, these are my standards, type them into AI. AI will do my lesson plans for me, will tell me what to say, what questions to ask, what papers to give the children.
So AI is great, but it's not all good. It's not all bad. Every chatbot makes mistakes. They communicate differently. Like everyday people, like, some people just kind of get on your nerves. Probably be able to find a chatbot that you just don't want to communicate with. Yeah, they're all very kind of different, the way that they produce output. So we'll open ChatGPT up and we'll ask it a couple of questions so that you can see how the responses vary depending on what you ask it.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's important that you still like are able to use your mind and more like integrate the tool as a brainstorming tool. Because when mistakes happen, you need somebody to blame. We're not going to be able to blame the chatbots, if all the kids failed, you're not going to be able to blame the chatbot like, oh, I typed in this lesson and it wasn't me. It's going to be you. So it's like, that's that reason why if you do use it, you should use it because it provides a really great resource, repository of information. It can get you somewhere, get you started, but I wouldn't like walk away from it and wash my hands after it produces any output. So let's switch to personal. So how do you said you don't use it for school? How do you use ChatGPT or any AI tool or chatbot?
I personally don't. However, I think it's a great tool. When I switched jobs, I had a resume writer who basically used AI to write my resume for me, and it was wonderful. Way better than I could have ever. There's no way I could have gotten past anybody's desk without it. So I don't feel that there's anything wrong with people at school who use it and everything. I do know people use it as a good brainstorming tool to get things started, but I suppose if I went back to college, I would use it because everybody else is using it. My husband works with AI. He does call centers. And so when you pick up the phone and you call and it has you're talking to the AI, or um, you are typing like in Amazon when you have a question or you want to type in something and then it spits something out. So it's really important. I know it's a really important aspect of life. I just have been fortunate enough not to have to use it.
Yeah. Okay. So would you mind if we kind of opened chatbot up and
I think it would be great.
I'll type in whatever you want,
Okay.
and we will work from there. Right. So, what is something that you might think you would like to use artificial intelligence chatbot for? Or like it asked the question already, what can I help you with?
I guess I would go straight to a work question.
But I have a work question.
Okay. What is the best way to teach first graders long vowel sounds?
I'll just read it. That's a great
Okay.
question and one a lot of teachers wrestle with. Teaching long vowel sounds to first graders work best when it's multisensory, consistent, and connected to meaning. Here's a breakdown of the most effective method you can mix and match depending on your class. So it has all of these different. What are your thoughts about this response?
Think it's I, I think it's great. I feel first of all that my curriculum manual has a lot of it. So I don't know, maybe AI wrote my curriculum manual. But um I feel like if I was a new teacher, I would definitely use and even not only as a new teacher, if I wasn't having success. So obviously I brought it up because it's a very important skill in learning how to read. So like the games, I would go back to those games and take a look at those.
Okay.
The sad part is I don't have a lot of time to play games anymore in first grade, which is very sad. However, I would send those ideas home to caregivers. So instead of them maybe feeling maybe they also don't use it at home as I do, I would be able to provide that idea for them. And then they would be able to implement that at home right away instead of possibly having to think of, oh, I have, put the question in and get some of these answers, or it would just be easier for them to get the ideas from me. So
So
I
let's
I like it.
let's rewrite this question based off of all of the things that you just said. So you have what I heard is that there's different contexts that you've added to the question. So the original question was, let's just go back. I have a work question. What is the best way to teach first graders long vowel sounds? I think when we I think the best way to approach using AI to make it useful for you is to lead it through the conversation. So, how about we now say, I am a first grade teacher, and a lot of my parents, or my students' parents, don't have a lot of time after school to reinforce long vowel sound learning. Also, I would like to make it more game or play like
Mm-hmm.
for the first graders.
That's great.
What do you suggest? Anything else that you could think of?
No, I love it. That's great.
Okay, so let's see what it says.
Okay.
It's essentially asked the same question and you see how it responded. That's a really thoughtful approach. And you're absolutely right to focus on making it play-based and self-contained, especially when families can't reinforce. And it says, first graders love learning through games. Here are ways to make learning hands-on, playful, and low prep without relying on homework and heavy parent involvement. So it now goes into exactly what you want, because you had the problem is still there. You want to teach the long vowel sounds, but there's reasons why this is your goal, because parents don't have a lot of time. So it's like sending up something home might not work. You've got a little bit of time and you want to make it more friendly so it can stick. And so it's laid out
All right, but if you
exactly
go
like,
back up,
okay,
I see it says create 5 mini state wait for vowel
here.
for the learning station. So that is still something for the classroom.
Okay. So
So
now let's
let's
add
go
even
and
more.
see if it's able what I need it to tell me. Oh, well, I didn't know if we should scroll down and see if
We
it
can
can.
scroll down, see if it brought up something about being at home.
Okay, I Spy. That's a good game.
I Spy is a good game.
Okay.
Read and find partner play,
And they'll need decodable readers. They might not have that.
right? Arts and phonics, mini poster collage, cute.
No,
No. You can make or adapt Go Fish. That's funny.
that's not low prep.
That's not low prep.
No,
During the
all
routine.
school.
That's going to be during school.
Here it is.
Keep parents in the loop instead of worksheets, and that's kind of what you were saying.
Here it is.
Quick vowel play at home cards. Hmm.
That's perfect.
Okay. So it came up with something that you really could implement. And that's like essentially the whole point of the exercise is like a lot of times when people are frustrated with artificial intelligence chatbots, or they just kind of wash their hands of it, they don't see the value because they're not keeping themselves involved. All of those different contextual environments, frameworks that you were bringing up when we talked about it before we put in the second prompt is really what you want to think about before, when you put in the first prompt.
Okay.
Yeah. So, are you more interested?
I feel that if I was really banging up against a wall, feeling like my students were not making the progress, or for my students that are needing some extra help, that it is a great tool to be able to have it spit something out quickly. But like I said, all you can do is give them ideas, and that was awfully quick. And
Yes.
that was a great idea. I would have never thought of that. And so ChatGPT, it seems, is a lot easier because then I got that idea really quickly about long vowel sound I Spy,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely perfect. Kids love I Spy.
Yes.
That's
They
awesome.
do. Mhm.
Like,
I'm so glad that you were able to join me today on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much.
yeah, thanks for having me. I totally appreciate it. It was fun.
Yes, it was fun.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank,
See
thank
you
you.
later. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.